right, let me warm up. Hello and welcome to It's a Family Renewion
Renewion.
virtual workshop. Today is Friday, February 3rd, 2023. And we're just going to go over a few things with you today. Then we're going to get out of your way.
All right, so real quick, hey y'all, I'm gonna run through this agenda real quick just to let you know what we're getting ready to get into about this family reunion. First, we're gonna have our introduction, then our icebreaker, our virtual prizes, a workshop review. We're gonna share some resources, and we're gonna have another virtual prize, and then you will have the opportunity to give your questions, and we will share any answers that we can in the YouTube chat.
Woohoo! So although this is pre-recorded, the chat is going to be live. So we are on this chat live and open just for, comments, questions. So we're going to be looking for you guys to interact and respond in the chat area. Thank God for YouTube. For us to be able to do this virtual platform. And you guys, if you are not live with us watching the premiere, you can always go back and watch pre-recorded. That's the beauty of video.
YouTube. It's always going to be there.
All right. Who is this on the screen?
Let me see. Does she look like this? I am Tiffany DeWalt, certified Christian life coach. I am co-founder of Life on Purpose, along with my sister and family member, Tangela Morris, a licensed professional counselor. You will come to me for all of your personal, your professional, and your spiritual needs. If you have anything that you need to get together in this life, come do it with me. Let's get this thing called life together.
Well, Tiffany already said my whole name, so I don't have to say that part, but I'm Tangela Morris. I am the counselor of the crew, here to provide virtual counseling support in a group setting, not an individual setting, but we are glad you guys are joining us. In the interest of the family reunion, this is a good topic. We've actually been taking this topic kind of on the road. Like last year, we had a whole outside event with young people in the neighborhood and their family. It was a lot of sisters and brothers, and just really driving home the idea of renewing things inside of the family. So Tiffany, what's your take on the whole idea of family reunion?
Reunion. Well, first thing is, what does reunion even mean? Is that even a word? Well,
you made it up.
Well, it's a word now, right? Well, family reunion. You know that re or re means to renew or redo something, and we know that union means to join together in unity. And so today we're bringing the family reunion. So we are expecting to have families renewed in unity in their community.
Yes. So quick game, quick thinking. What word rhymes with reunion?
What word rhymes with reunion?
Reunion.
Reunion. Reunion.
Kind of onion, kind of.
Reunion.
What else?
Reunion. Communion.
Yep, communion.
To commune. That's.
I was about to make up a word like l'union.
Triunion.
Anyway, that was fun. So let's get to it. I think we're gonna go to our icebreaker. Yay. Okay. So our icebreaker today is called My Family as Animals. And I already know what some of you guys are thinking, like this is right up your alley because your family act just like animals. All the kids eat all the food just like animals do. Run around just like animals. You know how parents say, look at you running around here like a wild animal. So but this activity is a pretty fun activity, and you guys will get a chance to see what we did with this particular activity. So it requires two things. It requires a sheet of paper and a pencil or a pen. You can use a pen as well. I prefer a pencil because you might have to erase, but you need two supplies. So go ahead. If you have to pause the video, go ahead and pause the video, whatever you got to do. And it doesn't say it on here, but it would be great if you had more than one person to participate with you in this particular activity. So go ahead, if there's another family member around, as long as they are of age, they can do this activity. And of age means, I say, at least 4 or 5. They can be as young as 4 or 5.
They can draw a picture. At least
they can draw a picture. Go ahead and get your blank sheets of paper or the back of an envelope or whatever you need. That's giving you some time, and then go ahead and get your pencils ready. And this is going to be exciting. And just so you know too, so my family has animals. This is the activity. We didn't make this up. This is actually a therapeutic activity. So this is something that I've used when I was working with children and families all the time. And it was, number one, it was a good way for the family to engage and interact. But also number two, it was an opportunity for me to be able to see their dynamics, like their family dynamics. You learn a lot from this particular activity. And so what the instructions are is, like I said earlier, you get you and at least one other person in the family. Now, even though they may not be present, think of at least 4 family members plus yourself, and of course the other person that you have, if it's only you and one other person. If you can gather more than just you and one other person, great, pull everybody in that you can. But it needs to be at least 5 people total. And identify in your mind what animals they most represent based on their character. So for example, you might select a butterfly for a family member because that person is growing and flourishing, or you might select a pig because that person can be a little bit sloppy. Now, of course, we want to do our best not to really hurt another person's feeling. So you don't want to pick animals that can be hurtful to another person's feelings, but at the same time, you want to be realistic as possible in your approach. And what I mean by hurting a person's feeling, you don't want to be like, oh yeah, you know, you a snake because you're always sneaking around, and then it causes a whole argument and things like that. So you want to still be respectful, but also make it fun.
Keep the peace.
Keep the peace.
That's right.
On your sheet of paper, what you're going to do is you're going to draw the animal per each family member, including yourself, that you feel that that person most identifies with. Once completed, you're going to share the drawing with your family members and share the reason for the animals that you selected. It should be good.
Yes, this was an interesting project here.
Yes. So the purpose of it is, number one, it gives opportunity for shared communication. You guys can talk about it. It offers better understanding of your family's perception of you. And then it's simply a fun activity for all to join in. And back to the perception, like it's going to be fun. Like if you have you and 2 or 3 other family members that are all doing this activity, and you know that there's going to be you and at least 2 other people drawing you, it's their version of you versus your version of you. You can see if there are similarities or differences in the animals that are chosen.
Okay. It's kind of interesting because that is how others perceive you, and do others perceive you how you perceive yourself.
And then also it's like, okay, are you gonna pick the best quality, or are you gonna pick the quality about me that get on your nerves? You know. So in one instance, your family member might be like, you know, that butterfly, that's the best quality, but that same family member might also be like that pig that is like the worst like quality that get on your nerves.
Mhm.
This activity shouldn't take more than 20 minutes. As you're thinking about drawing, think outside the box. Maybe Google some animals if you need to. Also, you can Google your drawings too. So if you don't feel comfortable drawing, or you know, you're worried about being a fantastic drawer, just Google how to draw something. And that might help, but don't focus too much on that part, because you don't want to miss the purpose of the activity. And it's not for you to be a great artist, more so than it is for you to draw the animal that your family member most represents.
Mhm.
Mhm. Are there any animals that you would be offended by, Tiffany?
Animals that I would be offended by,
Mhm.
probably a slug.
Mhm.
That's not an animal, that's more like an insect, isn't it? Um,
Well, that's a good point. You can use insects. You can pretty much use any living
well, you
creature.
did say
Not
butterfly, so that's an it. That's an it.
yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah, I would say a slug. Um,
What about if they said like a dinosaur?
mm, I said I'm a T-Rex in a song before, so
Okay.
so I can't really argue with that.
What about the
Now
Loch Ness?
what if they said
Or
something like an elephant?
elephants are wise. Now,
Yes, they
if
are.
if I'm like feeling a certain type of way about my weight, and you said I'm an elephant, then I would be offended.
Exactly. But what
But if
if
you
you had
said
some that type of weight as well as you're very smart and somebody really is thinking that the elephant represents your wisdom?
right, so
Do
to
you get
some
offended
degree,
by
it
that?
depends. To some degree, I think it depends. I think other animals, not very many, but other animals might just be like all the way around. Like there's some things people like going back to like the snake idea, like who wants to
Hmm.
see on a piece of paper that you think of them as a snake? But
Right.
might open up good discussion, because what if that family member really does have those really, really bad, you know, I guess I don't want to call them qualities, but things that contribute to the family in a bad way. I mean, if we got really, really deep with this activity, even though for us right now it's not that deep, you might have to address some things.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And so I would say, for those of you who might be finding out that, there's some things that you might need to have addressed, and, we're here for you guys, just we're here in the chat. Don't forget that. And also, you are able to contact us. We'll share some more information about how to do that later on.
Hmm. Okay, so we're getting ready to show you guys what we drew, and we'll describe it. So who we chose was 5 family members, including ourselves. So we chose our mother, our father, our each other, and then
Mhm,
our younger sister, and then ourselves.
mhm,
So let's go to the first one.
mhm.
Okay, this is by me.
Did, did you Google those?
Yeah. I Googled how to draw the basics. The only one I didn't Google was the lion.
That bunny looking real good.
Mhm, mhm. Okay, so here we go. I drew myself as a lion. I look at a lion as being courageous. I look at a lion as being bold, but I also think kind of like the Wizard of Oz, where you know that lion kind of had a little bit of fear. Um, they had a little bit of fear in not the cowardly lion, but I'm not a coward by any means, but there's a little bit of fear behind that
That's not
courage.
a real lion anyway, Tangy. That was just
It's
in the
not.
movie.
I know. I'll give you an example, but I'm just saying, like, it's the idea of having a little bit of fear behind the boldness, behind the courage,
Mhm, mhm,
that's there. Um, and then I've always just kind of been attracted to the lion's mane,
mhm.
like oh, like the little idea of hair and things like that.
He had
Um,
some pretty hair, didn't he? As a Tina
uh,
Turner.
well, I didn't like them
When
curls,
he did spirals on the Wizard of Oz.
the temple curls, but
When you see he
um,
was holding his tail, he was all
yeah. And the lion is a leader. You know, we look at the Bible, the Lion of Judah and things like that. Like the lion has some really strong qualities about himself. But we do know that the lioness is actually the king of the jungle. But we'll talk about that. What
She
they
the
call it,
queen. She's the queen.
woman
The
queen.
woman, something like that. Okay.
So then, yeah, Tiffany. So okay, so you are a bunny rabbit. Now you could have been a what's some little jackrabbit. But
Okay.
okay, so bunny rabbits are a lot of people like bunnies. They look, cute and cuddly and things like that. That's not what was driving the rabbit for me, but I think it's the level of energy that you have about yourself. It's like a rabbit. Like rabbits don't walk. I mean, if they
That's
do, I've
true.
never seen a rabbit walk. They hop everywhere they go.
They'll take a step or two.
They might take a step too, but they pretty much hop. I mean, like, and now
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about like God made a whole animal that hops.
Well, at least you didn't say frog.
Oh, okay, so there's a few animals that hop, like they don't walk for a living. But anyway,
that turtle over there, the turtle over there calls me frog for a little nickname.
yeah, I guess you'll get to that when you pull yours up. But yeah. So yeah, yours is a bunny, but there's a little part of bunnies. So the hopping part, the kind of getting up and go, always on the go, going around, high energy, got a lot of energy, but also pleasant to be around. For the most part, rabbits are pleasant to be around. But there's a little spice to a rabbit if it feels threatened. Like rabbits can hiss.
Oh, it's even more interesting that you brought this up as a rabbit, because I had a bad experience with a rabbit when I was a little girl. I don't know if you remember, we went to this daycare that had a petting zoo, and they would allow us to bring the rabbits home. And I think that's what you're talking about when that rabbit growled and hissed. But I'm talking about at school when they were allowing us to hold the rabbits, and one of them decided he wanted to get out of my lap right away and right then, and he scratched my stomach and hopped down and away. And now when he hopped away, it was because I had threw him across the playground. The teacher said, "Don't do that, don't throw the rabbit." And I was like, "But he scratched me." And it was just like cat scratches. And that's something I don't think many people know about rabbits, is that they scratch just as bad, if not even, and from my experience, worse than a cat, because it was like 4 scratches across my stomach. So that's interesting you said that, because now that doesn't negate the fact that situation I could see myself in as well. I can see that as a part of me too. When I'm ready to go, and I'm gonna get going, hop to it, and don't let much hold me back, you know. And so I can see what you're saying, as well as my personal experience with a rabbit. I guess you would say that kind of speaks to who I am as well. Cool.
Okay, so then we have our moving down where it says Tyra. That's our younger sister, our youngest sister. That is a puppy dog.
Pup.
Tyra is going to be forever a child in my mind. So that doesn't mean that I
the
disrespect
baby.
her that way, but just
No,
always
she's still the baby.
and running around and doing different things. So this reminds me of a puppy dog. Pet that
Frisbee.
dog.
Always dancing and doing something, huh?
Then we have Dad. We call him Norman, but he's a turtle. Turtles can go into their shell and just kind of be recluse a little bit. You're not gonna see them much. They have a presence, but they're not gonna always be active and engaged and involved and things like that. So That's why I chose a turtle. And then our mom is a bear, and a bear in a good way, like a mama bear. So you guys know the story of like Goldilocks and the three bears. Just like a mama bear who's gonna protect her cubs. So even just like I said with our younger sister, I still think of her as a child. Sometimes I think our mom thinks of us as a child. Like we're well into our adulthood and she still tells stories of us like we were babies. Like she tell people
We were her live dolls for a little while.
So she's like mama bear, just protecting her cubs.
Yeah, okay, cool.
All right, Tiffany, what you got?
Did you draw those for me? Okay. Okay, so mine is, the first one is I would say that's a hawk. That's myself, and I chose the hawk because it has a keen eye, pays a lot of attention. It can see very far. It's looking, when you think it's looking at one thing, it's looking further than what you think, and it's good at searching and seeking out things that it needs to survive. It's kind of a loner, but at the same time, of course, you know, we wouldn't have any if it didn't work, hawks getting together at some point. But and it's just I guess one of those, a majestic bird. Don't know why, but it's just a majestic bird that's just kind of, I don't know. But anyway, that's me. My mom is a lioness, and I guess it's similar to what Tangi said. She's a mama bear. I see mama bears as, you know, they say bears are ferocious. They say lions are ferocious. So it definitely means that we know that she's going to take care of her cubs by any means necessary and protect them and nurture them. As we always see pictures of lions with their cubs, she's always cleaning them or teaching them or doing something to help them, you know, become either like her or, you know, one day the king of the jungle. We go down, you see a peacock, and that is our little sister. It happens to be her last name as well, but she was born to dance, and phenomenal dancer that just in ways that cannot be taught. It's just natural, and she comes to life and makes things colorful and fun, and she opens up those wings when she starts to dance, and it just makes everybody, you know, it's like a show, watching a show. So we move over to, well, let's move down. There's a little bird right there. Uh-oh, my phone's trying to, uh-oh, sorry about that. Can you see me? That is a toucan. The first thing that Tangi's, her first skill she had, a parrot, sorry, not a toucan, a parrot. And that is Tangi. That is one of the first things she did was talk.
Tangela.
Tangela, well, she's Tangi to me. It's the family reunion as Renewion. And right now this is Tangi. But anyway, Tangela.
So let me show you your nickname.
Oh boy, what Tiff like? But yeah. So this is a parrot, and that is a representation of my sister Tangela. One of the first things and the first skills that she inherited was talking, and can just one of those that is beautiful, colorful. That's also a majestic. I think all birds are kind of majestic in their own way, but there's a majesty about her, and there's they're really friendly. Now, I say Tangi's friendly, she is. She's that kind where you may not know she's thinking about you, but then she'll show up and drop some pebbles, like a bird will come bring you something, bring you things, little snacks and stuff. You ever seen a bird pick something up with their beak and come put it in your hand or something like that? But so yeah, she's like that. And then the kangaroo, it looked like Master Splinter from Ninja Turtles, but
That's pretty good
the
kangaroo. Like if I didn't know it was a kangaroo, I would have said it because I see the pouch and the feet are long. Yeah.
So, and then they lean back on their long tail, so they look like big rat bunny things, but that is our dad as well. For me, I said kind of like he hops in and hops out, and I think Tangy said that he goes into the shell, but I would say like he kind of hops in and hops out. But a kangaroo doesn't have a pouch, which means that there's a place for a kid. There is a place for us, but it's just he's there, but he gonna hop in and he gonna hop out, and so die for that.
Gotcha. Okay. So just doing a quick wrap up before we go to the next thing. How did you feel? Because this was your first time doing this activity, right?
Yes, that was my first time.
How do you feel doing the activity?
I know one thing is you gotta be careful which animals you choose. That's a hard one because now I think about it now that every animal has its positives and also negatives.
And the peacock,
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, every animal does. And so you do have to be careful which animals that you choose and be very mindful about the characteristics that you're trying to express with the animals as well. I mean, who wants to be a turtle?
Turtles are fun. People like turtles.
Some people like turtles. Yeah.
Yeah. So what did you think about the animal that was selected for you?
For me, a bunny. No, it was right on. I think that there was a little bit more that I saw in myself than obviously you could see that reminded me of the bunny, which is what I explained with the story. But yeah, it was, I guess, I still think I'm soft and cuddly too. You just don't get to cuddle with me. That's
No.
other than that. Yeah, I am. I'm just, and I guess what's interesting though is because I chose a kangaroo, which is a hop in, a hop out person, and I'm kind of a hopper too. I wouldn't say that I would hop in and hop out, but because with a rabbit, they usually have large families. They are usually around a lot of family, whereas a kangaroo, we notice they are always kind of by themselves. I never heard of kangaroos congregating so much and being socialized. And not to say that they don't, but that's not how we've been experienced them. But we've always experienced that rabbits were around a lot of people, other rabbits. I put it that way.
I guess I don't know enough about them to know what whether they were around anybody or not. So
you didn't watch Bambi?
Not intensely, not enough to pay attention. I'm guilty. I can't remember even the full story of Bambi. So okay, so that's my.
You can edit that out, right? Because everybody's saying Bambi. You can edit that out, right?
Not that I didn't see it, but I don't remember. I don't have a recollection.
Okay, you gotta go back and watch Bambi. Everybody miss her mama.
But that's a lot of stories. Like what was the storyline? Like the Jungle Book. I don't know. I'm not finna down all of the Disney movies.
You can't. When you have children, you've seen all the Disney movies now.
Well, we used to read the little books with the little silver lining.
Yeah, we did.
Okay, so that was my family's animals. Like I said earlier, you can always pause and come back to the video once you get through it. But I think it's a great and fun activity. I think, Tiffany, at some point you should try it just with you and your family in the house.
Well, you know what, Tangent? You didn't tell us what you thought about your animal.
Oh, the toucan / parrot.
The parrot. The toucan parrot seagull.
Yeah. I would have not picked a parrot, but I can see why. I like
I wouldn't
parrots,
have picked a bunny.
but can you see why?
I wouldn't see that you would pick the animal. It wasn't for you to pick. But at the same time, I wouldn't have picked a bunny either. You see how when you choose for yourself, how you choose something that's, strong and the way we see ourselves, we wouldn't see that. I wouldn't say bunny rabbit either.
But
But
I was
I can see
parrot has
why.
a personality, so that's what I like about them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They do have a personality, and they can be very personal. You can actually build a relationship with the parrot as well.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Personable.
Mm-hmm.
Good. So, okay. All right, let's move it on. Moving on up. Ooh, it's
To a
virtual.
virtual prize.
Okay, so this is going to be a little different. Normally we do the prize wheel, but this one's going to be a little different. So we're going to put a question in the chat, and the first person to respond to the question is the virtual prize winner. So hope you win. And the question is going to be family related, but it's strictly in the chat. So you got to be on this live to even like have potential to win. So there we go.
All right.
All right, let's talk. So we're going to talk a little bit about our families, a little bit more in detail. Broken families, the whole idea of the family reunion, what's needed for our family today. We're going to talk a little bit about parent versus kids, like ways to interact with your children. And then we're going to end with our YouTube chat. But not before we have another virtual prize. So do y'all see the picture in the background? You probably noticed that's our family. So
some of them, our husbands aren't in there, so
our husbands are not, but they're somewhere else. So in the front left is Tyra, our youngest sister, her son Tyson, standing up right behind her. In the way back, the words family reunion are probably hiding her face a little bit, but that's Layla, Tiffany's daughter. And then right below Layla, sitting down, is our mother, Miss Jackie Brown. And to the right of her is me, way towards the back. It's kind of dark a little bit. Then you come up, you see Tiffany and Ronan. A pretty cool family picture.
Oh, I love that one.
All right, who is this?
Look at there. Look at there. Look at the DeWalts.
Yeah.
DeWalt.
Introduce yourself.
Well, there's the husband back there. That is Mr. Wesley DeWalt. And right in front of him is his Mrs. Wesley and Tiffany DeWalt. And that little tiny face in between is little Ronan. He is 8 years old. And that is my stepson, Jalen. And Jalen is, y'all, he's squatting down. He is 6'6". He's taller than my husband at 6'4". And he is going to be 20 years old in May. And then there is Layla, whose birthday happens to be yesterday on February 2nd, y'all. She is 13 years
Happy
old
birthday,
now.
Layla. Yep.
Happy birthday, Layla. And so, yes, now I have been a mom for 13 years. And so, but this is my family, and my husband and I have been happily married for 14 and a half years. July 19th will make our 15th year.
Okay. What's some of your family traditions?
Family traditions, that's one of them you're looking at. We make sure we get together on Christmas Day, every Christmas, and exchange gifts amongst one another at our home. And that's something that we had just done before we decided to take a selfie. And what else do we like to do? We also love New Year's as well. People don't know this, but we get all the little sparkling wines and stuff, the little juices and the sparkling, what is it called? The cider, and let the kids use champagne glasses and everything. And we all scream Happy New Year together during the countdown. And then we go outside and scream it outside, and we always look at, because that's when everybody starts shooting off the fireworks and we get to watch the fireworks display of our neighbors. So a lot of people don't know that's what we do at home. Once in a while, we have a tradition to get together and even between Thanksgiving and Christmas and have a family dinner. Um, it's just, I don't know, we watch movies together, like literally sitting on the couch with one big old blanket on us and some popcorn or whatever other snacks we have. And we watch movies. And I mean, so it's a lot of things that we do together. Um, that's what
What's
I can think of right now.
your,
Hmm?
what's your parenting style?
My parenting style. Now, of course, with Layla and Ronan being my children that are raised in the home, I have different styles. Number one, I have a boy and I have a girl. So with Layla, Layla is a little different as a child. I always um, kind of raised her on a reverse psychology style by helping her see the outcome of things before she can, before she can get to that point, you know, um, or I would teach her in a way that I don't even know how to explain it really. There are some things I learned about parenting kids in the 2020s. I'm going to put 2020s since the pandemic because these kids whole learning style has changed. Their whole the way they live life has totally changed on them in the last 3 years. So I'm gonna go with Layla. Layla's like a YouTube learner. You know how on YouTube you have people that gives you strategies or they teach you how to's and things like that online. And so she almost needs it to be like point A, point B, point B. You have to put bullet points behind everything you say. And I respect that. It used to be your parents won't say, do it, they'll say, do as I say, not as I do, or they'll say, just do what I tell you to do and don't explain things to a child. But she's curious to understand why you make the decisions, not that she's being disobedient, defiant. And no, she doesn't necessarily want to do it, but she wants to see the logic in it. And so instead of like just saying, okay, go in there and do this, I'll say, go in, let's say to open a can of peaches, go in, use the can opener to open the can of peaches and put it in a bowl and put a spoon in there and give it to your brother. Versus saying, go give your brother some peaches. Because then it's like, well, what am I supposed to put it in? You want him to this or you want that? And it's like, I didn't understand why and that's just hypothetical. She can understand how to go and open a can of peaches, but um I didn't understand why she needed so much detail until I actually stopped and I watched her watching a YouTube tutorial on how to do something, and she was doing it, each point,
Mm-hmm.
and had the right outcome. And so that's how I give her lessons a lot. This is why we don't do this, and I will break it down to her point by point. And I think that we have to take time to do that as parents and not be rushed through our teachings. Don't try to rush through it and expect them to understand and fully understand what you're saying, because in today's time, we have to kind of meet them where they are in their learning styles, because they're at school learning pretty much the
Mm-hmm.
same way that they do online. Ronan is a fun kid. Ronan is the kind that I can teach him things through games. So we still play a lot of games with him. We play games through YouTube videos because he's nonverbal Down syndrome. I've been teaching. I'm going to stop calling him nonverbal because the boy can talk. He just has a speech therapist, but I go on and I put videos on that teach him sign language, how to say something properly, and gives him the picture of it at the same time. And I'll stand there and do it all with him. The video is 5 minutes long. It doesn't take long to stop and, engage with your child. It's an opportunity to engage with him in a quality manner where it's not just tickle time all the time. It's not always time to play chase, or time to throw the ball in the house, or that kind of thing. So then sometimes it's going to be where we're going to learn together. And I think that's another thing that some parents don't do anymore. They don't learn with their children. And so, and the last point I'm going to make is about the learning. I teach them to learn something new every single day. You go and find something new to learn every single day. And I've taught them that since they were toddlers, beginning to learn how to do things. And I've seen phenomenal results in both of them. Ronan's can be very surprising sometimes because you don't know that he picked up on something, and he might not even want to play with you at the time and try to learn it, but he learned it, and he come back to you later and he does something you just did. So even when it's like that, you've done something that was quality, and tried to spend time. With Layla, I'm seeing her do phenomenal things, such as in the 5th grade for her graduation, or coming out of 5th grade, she asked for a keyboard for her gift, and I got it, thinking, okay, now we got to get her some lessons. And like a month later, this child was playing classical music. And that wasn't something that I told her to go and learn, or even said, hey, you want to, learn how to play the piano? Then it was learning how to speak Japanese. She just began, Mom, I got a song to sing. And began singing in Japanese. And I'm like, do you know what this means? And she broke it down and she understood it. So, just learning, teaching your kids to learn something new every day, and not being afraid to learn with them. Will I be able to speak Japanese? I probably I tried to learn some of it, but the piano, that's just escapes me. I got Mary Had a Little Lamb, and that's going to be about it with that. But I am learning that I have to continue learning every day as well.
Okay.
I know that was a little long-winded, but I just,
You got everything out you need to say, right?
Well, I had to go through all the kids,
Okay, so you have, so I guess the moral of it is your parenting style depends on the kid.
It depends on the kid.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
It
important.
depends on the kid.
That's
Well,
important.
we have to remember they're individuals, and what's good for one, you may not have to teach another.
Mm-hmm.
They might just have it already. They're just like, why did so and so get it and you can't get it? Because they're different people.
Well, they have different learning styles.
Different learning style. Well, they're different people. They're different. You and I are sisters, but I'm an older sister. You're a middle sister. So
Yeah,
even our
we weren't
positions.
raised, we weren't raised like that, though. We were practically raised as twins.
Well, we were, but your experiences with our parents versus my experiences with our parents are going to be different, because I was that girl. I was that little girl, and then you
I
came
wouldn't say
along.
based
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
on age, it was based on our personalities. We had
Yes.
vastly different personalities.
Right. It's not, but I'm not talking personality. I'm talking responsibilities. Our responsibilities were different.
Well, no, I'm not saying
even though you may not.
But, and I do think that I do honor the age group system, but I don't think that we were raised based on age. I really don't. We're close to being really, really close to being 2 years apart. And I might be missing it. I might not thinking about it, but I don't remember ever having a hierarchy like, you're the older one, you need to do this. You're the, because the older one usually takes on a lot of responsibility. They don't really like their position in a family, and then technically for 9 years, I was the youngest, but I didn't feel like the youngest. I didn't feel like the baby.
Right.
And then when the youngest did come, I still didn't feel like a middle child,
Right. Well, I mean, I'm looking at for me, what my teachings were. There are times where I got talked to without you in the room. You know what I'm saying, about certain circumstances and with certain responsibilities that were mine. So no, you wouldn't know those things. You know what I'm saying? Things like what you didn't realize was happening. Like in high school, there was a moment where I was going into high school and I was in a low math and you were in advanced math, and this particular school decided to put us in the same class. And you didn't realize when we went in that class, I done peeped out everybody that was in there and what was going on. And I made sure you sat in front of me while we were in that class where my back was against the wall, so I can see what was going on all around us and
Now, why do
what
you think I
people were
wouldn't
doing.
realize that part?
I don't know. I don't know if you realize, but that's something that was instilled in me as being an older sister, that I had to make sure that my younger sisters were protected. And in this particular school that we were going into, that we were in, that was the case. I'm like, it was borderline lean on me up in there.
Okay, I can see that.
So
I can see that.
if anything had happened in that school and I didn't have my eyes on it, because if something happened to you, they're gonna come to me, well, Tiffany, you didn't see, or Tiffany, you didn't hear, Tiffany, you couldn't, or what, I would definitely be talked to and play and talk to in the position that I'm in as an older sister. So I know
Okay,
you, that's
some
why I say
degree,
you.
yeah. I would say to some degree, I definitely can agree with that. And I can see that, but I also don't. I still don't 100% say we were, like, compared to other people's very traditional hierarchy. Like, some people take it and they really hone in on. They put a whole lot of
Yeah.
responsibility on the oldest to the point where they rebel.
Mm-hmm.
They cause the middle child to
Well,
feel
I
like
agree with that.
middle child syndrome. And so they
Mm-hmm.
feel like an outcast. And then the
Right.
youngest truly treat like a baby and they never grow up.
Right.
Yeah, we didn't have those dynamics.
Right. We didn't, but I also think that has something to do with, sometimes people can go a little strong, and then there's some people that are not, teaching the kids at all. That's just the level of parenting that you have in a particular family. And then like there is too much, because there are some parents that lay the little kids on the big sister. You got to make sure they get after school snacks and that they get in their baths. You got to make sure they go into bed, so on
You
and
got to
so
help them
forth.
with their homework. And if you don't help them, you get in trouble. It's a very, yeah.
Right,
And
right. And then you have that other one, they just don't do nothing with the kids. They all just there,
what's interesting
three
is
hots in a cot.
I work with kids in foster care. Like, if it was 3 or more children in the home and they're all siblings, there was one, the oldest one, that they called parentified. They would have this parent. And so if they were in a foster home, they would challenge the foster parent because they immediately want to feel like they became the parent, even though there was an adult in the house. And so the power struggle was the foster parent saying, no, I'm the parent in this case. You don't have to parent. Yeah. And sometimes
That's
that was
that's
just
interesting.
sometimes that was their biological family tradition. And other times it wasn't. They just adjusted to whatever their environment was in, their environment. So,
well, that's interesting, because that's almost like being a step parent. When you have step parenting, blended families and things like that, where you have some of the kids that respect the step parent and love the step parent, and the step parent may be really involved in the child's life and really a part. And then there's some families where they don't do nothing, they don't talk, they don't see each other, they don't do, you know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing. It's like you have to find your level, like what's the level of parent that this child needs. You might have a good mother or a good father that's there, that's that where they live, and you don't necessarily have to feel, there's no shoes for you to fill, you know what I'm saying? And so you be in you're a parental presence there, but your guidance is not necessarily needed. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then, but it's there if it comes to a need, it's there and available. And I think that's important for a stepchild to know, is that if your guidance is needed, that you'll be there for them. But you also have to figure out what that level of parenting that child would need from you, versus just trying to be there and just like, this is my
you don't want to force it into something. So
right.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna be brief. It's just two of us.
Well, I was gonna say it's just a couple of y'all over
Yeah.
there.
It's Angela and John Morris. So together we don't have any children, but so I can't really speak on the parenting style part, but we've been married almost 10 years, 10 years, March 23rd.
Woo-hoo.
So I'm looking 3/23/23. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know
like
what
the
that
number.
means yet. Might go play the lottery
I
or
don't know. My birthday on the 23rd, so
something. So, but yeah, so our traditions, we love to travel. We like road trips more than anything because it gives us an opportunity. The actual driving gives us an opportunity to kind of relax, relate, and release. So we don't drive like across country or anything like that. But we could take a good weekend trip at random. That's one of the biggest things that we like to do. And then also my husband loves to cook, and so we like to put some recipes together and have family dinner. Like we eat in more than we eat out, which is good. Like we get to the point where we don't even. It's hard for us to be satisfied eating out sometimes because it's and that's just because we enjoy just a home cooked meal. And I think that that's important. And we don't necessarily sit around the dinner table, but we will sit in the living room together and have our meal. So it's my family. All
But you
right.
got a
So
dog.
yes, not
Okay.
picture. How about that? Not picture.
Okay.
um, okay. So broken family. So wow. I mean, what causes a family to be broken?
Mm. Ooh, a lot of things can. First, I got a quick question for you. Um, this video can be edited, right?
Uh,
You editing it. Huh?
I was gonna try to run it all the way through.
I know you are, but you're gonna have to edit it because my phone got like 10% on it. It had 50% when we started. So we can keep going, or you can let me run and get my charger real quick.
I'll keep going, and then you can go. I can answer that question, and then you can go get while you're going to get your charger.
Okay. Go ahead.
All right. So, what causes a family to be broken? What causes a family to be broken could be a number of things. We are familiar with like generational problems. We are familiar with family conflict, absentee family members that should be present. Um, Family can be like, if you go all the way back to the Bible days, the first broken family was probably Cain and Abel. And you guys are familiar with Cain killing Abel, and they were brothers. So we know from very, very, very far back that families can be broken, and it could be a lot of different things that causes that brokenness. But I think families being broken is an example of hurting a unit. Families are meant to be together in various ways, and they make sense once you begin to like look at the pieces of a puzzle together. Families make a lot of sense, and so brokenness can come from lack of forgiveness, heartache, pain. So the same people that are meant to be together may also hurt each other in many ways. So when a family gets to the point of being broken, it looks like things like, oh, we haven't talked in years. Um, oh, she owed me money, or he owed me money and he won't give it back, or we got into a fight and they disrespected me. I'm the outcast, I'm the black sheep. All of these things we hear about families. Um, or I never met my father, I never met my mother, different things like that. Or I grew up with a mother and a father, and I used to be abused and things, it's a lot that can go into a family that's just broken. So we wanted to give 6 steps to mending brokenness in your family. And these are just beginning steps. Because when you're talking about deep hurts in the family, it may take a little bit more than 6 steps. But these are just simple things that families can do to begin the healing process of mending brokenness in their families. And the first step is just being willing and being open to healing and putting some things in the past that were once hurtful, if you can put those things in the past. Apologizing and also forgiving. That's a big one. To stop arguing, debating, wanting to be right, wanting to, all of those things. Stop being difficult. That's a part of it. I hear people talk about how stubborn a family member is or how disrespectful a family member can be. If you that person, stop doing that. Like, stop contributing to the brokenness.
Right.
And then hug it out.
And that's the person they say misery loves company when that person comes around.
That, like, you contributing to the brokenness. Like, why are you over here acting a fool? For real. Why are you over here acting up?
Yeah.
Hug it out, spend some time together, quality time. Don't think for one bit that your family does not want to spend time with you or does not want to see you. And I'm talking to the outcasts. I'm talking to the ones that think that they're the black sheep. I'm talking to the ones that feel like people don't actually love them in their family. But you may be contributing to some of that difficultness. Like, it can't be all them and none of you. There has to be some contribution. Not saying that for all families, but a lot of the ones that I hear about and talk about and see, even the outcasts can have some contribution to what's going on. Yeah. Family, the dynamics of a family are not easy at all. And the more children, the more difficult it is, right? But it doesn't mean that you guys can't come together. I love to see a family come together. I love to just see families. Like, I love to look at people and look at the similarities, the facial. You ever seen that family? You go, oh, y'all look alike. Like, y'all look alike.
I love to see the families where all the kids just really love on their mom. Like, really cater to their mom. Those kids that are very excited to see their dads. I know with my kids, they're very young still, and my husband can leave the house just to run to the store and can be gone literally 3 minutes, and they're in here playing hide and seek and hide and don't tell dad where I am, and they can hear his footsteps up the steps, and it gives them this anticipation that is priceless, because they get so excited they have to pop out and go surprise, because they won't even wait for him to look for them. So it's just like, he's been gone for 3 minutes. Y'all act like he's been gone for 3 days.
Aw, you want them to do that with you?
No, I don't. Mom usually come in the door with some groceries or something is in her hand, and
something to do. That's why kids run away from the mama, because she always got something to do.
Come here and take this into the kitchen, huh?
Yeah, I like to see, like, when I am on social media, I like to see how sometimes people in their families can relate. Like, you might see a post that, say, okay, anybody else in their family do this? Like, I seen, like you mentioned, groceries. Like, I saw one the other day when they said, why is it when your mama tell you go get the groceries, you put on anybody's shoes to go outside? You grab the first shoes. Yeah.
You grab the first shoes, and then you don't slide. If they too small, they just sorry, it's gonna be bent in the back.
I gotta run get these groceries and run back in. So
even if they too big, you be out there trying to keep your toes to the front of their shoes. So and they'll put on your coat too.
Yeah. So this is the start of just the family reunion, is looking at how broken the broken pieces of your family and working to put them back together again. Somebody has to be the matriarch. Somebody has to be the leader, and other people have to understand that there has to be a leader in your family. And you guys, everybody can't be the chief. There's got to be some people that has to be willing to listen and just follow the leader in a good way that will, lead your family into being better. Like when a family unit is great, like it's so powerful. Like when you think about like the Winans and the Wayans, like all y'all, so many of you guys that got similar gifts and talents, but in your unique way.
What
like
about the Cosbys?
Yeah, that was a huge
The
deal.
Cosbys.
Huge model family for Black people. That was huge. But when you look at like natural family dynamics, and the things that go across the bloodline, that is powerful in so many different ways. Powerful. It exceeds just that one person, makes the whole family stand up.
Well, you think about it, each person in the family represents something. The father represents a protector, guidance, leadership, and the mother represents what's the word? Goodness, that word slipped my mind. Sensitivity and relaxation and wisdom. Not that dad doesn't have wisdom, but mom is the one that people usually go to and say, hey mom, this and this happened, what do you think I should do? You can go to mom for things like that. Dad is usually gonna say, well, go ask your mama.
Yeah, so it's very creative how a family is put together just for those things. Like you fit once you begin to like honor everybody's strengths, you learn how you fit together. Yeah, I guess that's where the teamwork comes in at.
It is. I believe that, when it comes to the team, I feel like in the home, because, God tells the man to build the house and bring his wife to it. She's a homemaker. And in the home, so I think that moms make the rules. I think dads are the enforcers. They're there to enforce it. You getting out of hand, mom. All mama gotta say is, okay, well, I'm just tell your daddy when he get home. And it's like, no, don't tell daddy. Because he's like, well, what your mother tell you to do, But I also know that I've seen the other side of it, and not in a bad way, but I can go in there and I can give the kids some treats and then go on about the day. And next thing you know, I turn around, they got the same type of treats I just gave them just a few hours ago again. And I'm like, did you give them the treats? Yeah, I gave her. Okay, next time, can you let me know? Because I've already given them some treats or something like that. But dad loves to be a gift giver. He loves to be able to give to the kids, to satisfy them, to comfort them in his own way. So I don't fuss.
Most dads, well, I don't say most, but I've seen a lot where they you can have whatever you want.
Oh yes, they'll give them donuts and juice at midnight, and go
you
to the
ask
store
for
and
it,
come that bag full of candy. You're gonna get it.
The only reason I'm telling you no is because your mama said no.
And then your mama come in there and say, where you get all this candy from?
Exactly.
Daddy gave it to me. And then she got to be the bad guy. Say, don't eat all that candy. It's going to rot your teeth.
So, yeah. So everybody has their place and their role.
We about to talk now?
Huh?
I said, we about to talk now?
What you missed me on that.
See, that went right over your head. You got to edit that. I said, we're getting ready to talk now. You see on there, it says, let's talk.
All of them say, let's talk.
Oh, my bad. I messed that up then.
Well,
I thought that last one didn't say
I can't edit this picture. It's going to be too long for me to edit. I'm not editing like I was, but okay. What is needed for the family today? So this says the confusion about the bigger person, and I think that is placed there because you don't wait on the bigger person. Sometimes you might be that person that just need to go and just do whatever you need to do in order to clear up whatever mess that might be holding your family back from being able to renew.
Yeah, now I understand that one. I know that one can be hard sometimes though. because today's time, and I'm not going to go into detail because I think everybody has an idea, even with their own families, something. But in today's time, there's a lot of things that are happening in families, or choices that people make nowadays that are acceptable that was not acceptable many years ago for families. And so it's kind of hard when you got, it's almost like a tug of war. The
Yeah, it
confusion
can be,
about the
but
bigger
ways
person.
around it. Yeah, there's ways around it.
Right.
Think some things,
Exactly.
so you still got to look at some things. Some values should never change. How those values are.
Right.
This might be different, but the value should still be there.
Right.
Mhm.
But when it comes to when we were talking about the confusion about the bigger person, but when you have that rift in the family, what does it look like to become the bigger person when neither party has been satisfied in the situation?
Well, I
What is
think
the
that's
bigger
where the
person?
confusion comes in at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it may
Mm-hmm.
not need to be a bigger person. Maybe we need to, you know, remove that idea, but just being willing, like we said earlier, and to
Mm-hmm.
participate in the healing process.
Now, wouldn't you say that that is being the bigger person, being the person
Being
that's
willing.
willing to
Well,
move
I
into?
would say being a big person, but maybe not the bigger. The bigger means that somebody else chose not to while you chose to,
Right.
technically. But yeah, I mean, you can definitely, if let's use this picture and let's use this picture that we see these two women. They're obviously embracing each other. One has a cake.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which one of them is the bigger person?
Hmm. You really
Let's
can't
say
tell who.
the backstory of them was they ain't seen each other in years because Margaret got mad at Sheila. And now,
Well,
at a family reunion, they're embracing because they were happy to see each other. We don't see the other lady's face. I don't know if that cake was given to her or she's
mhm.
handing it over. It's a lot of different stories that could be told, but
Right.
you see is two people coming together and embracing each other. Both of
Mhm.
them are the bigger person because they were willing and they were receptive.
That's right.
I think that's
They're
what we.
both big people.
Mm-hmm. The big people. Okay, so this was a question you had earlier, right? Why is your family
Why?
your family?
Yes, why is your family your family? That was a question. I had that question about 10 years ago, no, about 8 years ago. I was asking one of our cousins. He is our second cousin. His father and our grandmother were brother and sister, our brother and sister. And I just enjoyed being around him at that moment. I enjoyed his gifts. He's a most talented producer, rapper extraordinaire. And I just enjoyed his character for that moment. And then it was just like an epiphany because we were at a church at the time. And I was, just in spirit mode, as well as this is my family who does not, he's not somebody we see all the time, every day. And so I was just like, why did God make us family? Like, I just don't feel like family is supposed to see each other once a year for the family reunion. Uh, say happy birthday on birthdays. Merry Christmas. I mean, because to be real with you, a lot of people don't have that. Some people don't even believe in all of the holidays, but what makes them family? You see what I'm saying? And so, that was 8 years ago. What was that? About 6, 7 years later, we found ourselves in a music studio with him doing an album, and without him, the album that we've done two now, and without him, those albums wouldn't be what they are. And I'm not saying that he's there just to be that person, because that could have been anybody. That there's more to it and more value behind the project because of his involvement, and being that he's family as well as a talented individual and was willing to use his talents for us. And I might add that, there was some other perks, discounts for his services that we got because we were family as well. So that was pretty helpful. But why is your family your family? It's
What?
not just by blood. It's more, I know that sometimes they might be the match for that kidney a person needs, or something like that, or blood they may need, stuff like that. But it's still more to it. I mean, you have Christ and his mother, you know, why was she his mother? Why was he her son? God knew what he was doing when he put them together for that particular role in their lives. So, you know, I guess down in the chat, y'all tell us, why is your family your family? Give us a family member, throw it out there. Let us know why that family member is your family member.
Good question.
Mm-hmm.
So neighbor to family, we don't go visit anymore, and that was just there for a word of encouragement. Like, if your family member is your neighbor, go see about them. Just stop by and say, hey. Back in the day, that's what we did. You mentioned that the other day in one of the messages that you delivered on a Sunday service, and you brought it across, like, that was so important to just visit people, especially our elders, and let them know you're thinking about them and you love them. Like, we've gotten away from that a great deal. And so this is an area of encouragement to say, okay, if you know you are in the area of a family member, and I'm speaking to myself too, let's do our best to spend time with each other as we can. And one of the things that I've been hearing our elders say a lot, which lets me know what's on their mind, they say, you never know when it's going to be the last time. And that we don't hear that until we, become the elder, how important that is. You never know when it's going to be the last time.
Right. You never know. We were raised to go and visit our elders. We'd go visit our grandparents we'd be there for about a half an hour and got a couple of sweets, and then had to go through the whole discussion of how tall we've gotten, how big we've gotten, and how pretty we are, and what kind of grades are you making, and what else we're doing in our lives, and just marveling over us and encouraging us as kids. And then they would say, now go on down there to say hey to Miss Jean, or go say hey to Miss Love. And so, all the neighbors around there. So we were taught to love our neighbors and treat them like family. But when we would go to visit our neighbors, what happened? They would do the same thing. We'd have to go through the whole thing again. Oh, you gotten so tall, and what kind of grades you making? And that was a big thing. But our family, fortunately, was able to live right there within the community together a lot.
Yeah. And a lot of them still, I won't say a lot of them, but a few of them still do. Yeah.
And I think that's important.
Renewion. We hope you guys are getting something out of this. I know there's a lot of information coming your way, but this is so important to men in the family. I think it's so needed to hear about like family is like, if you top levels of importance of things, family should be one of them. I hate to hear when people talk about they don't either have family or they don't have people in their corner that's like family. I have had my fair share as a counselor, people sitting and saying, what family? Like, wow.
I mean,
Imagine.
Somebody's got to break the curse. You got to start raising your own children to break that, start with your kids. You say what family, you gotta be family. You got to start teaching them to do, the same way. So.
Imagine like your identity is wrapped up in your family. Not your whole identity, but a whole huge part of it. So, all right. Tip life. Tiffany, can you part
parents versus kids. Ways to interact with your children. Oh my goodness. Oh, do you know Muffin Man, the Muffin Man, the Muffin Man? Oh, do you know the Muffin Man who lives on Drury Lane? Why do I know that song? Because I play with my kids.
That's because your mom played with you. That's why you know that song.
That is true. That is true. I learned that song from learning from my mom first. My mother played with me. So yes, I play with my kids. I don't play the same games because they're not entertained by the same things that I was entertained by as a kid, but we do play together. Why do kids need attention? I believe that kids need attention because when they're around adults, that is their learning time. That is a time where they're being taught, and teaching doesn't always mean pointing finger and having to talk to them. Some of it is about watching you, watching you interact with other people, watching how you handle your business, watching how you run your household, things of that nature. And I know that kids don't even like uh, chores and stuff like that. But sometimes chores is just about bringing the kid out of their room. They'll stay in their rooms nowadays on the computers or laptops and tablets and things all day long without coming out, but to use the bathroom and get dinner for the night. And so come out, come do the dishes. That gives them opportunity to see how you move around while they're out, while you're in the house. And so I think it's important to give them that kind of attention, but also to sit down and let them know that they're important when you give them attention. They are important. They mean something, that you value who they are, that you enjoy being around them. And at the same time, while you're doing that, you're building character into them. So I think kids need attention for learning experience as well as for just to know who they are, that they're loved and that they're cared for, and that, okay, you say that I'm smart, but you never challenge my thinking. You never play with me to challenge my thinking. And, that's why kids will come to you and say, I can do this, I can do that. you know, and what about our big kids, preteens and teens? Same thing. They're preteens and teens, but I can guarantee you some of the games that you might have played when they were little, they will enjoy playing them. And it may not be about playing the game that they enjoy, but it's funny to bring back the memory. It's funny to have the experience again and then wonder why. I feel like, even though they're a teen, they feel like they're almost grown because when you say teen, they're already looking at 18, which is not that far away. A person who's 13, 5 years from there, they'll be 18 years old. So being a teen, they don't see themselves playing little kids' games, but don't even realize that they actually still enjoy them. Playing with your child. I just went through that, and making busy time fun time. I went through that one as well. Time at the grocery store or the car ride, games and things of that nature. I personally don't usually like to have devices in my kids' hands while we're riding around, because I like them to learn landmarks if they ever needed to make it home. And maybe, like my son, he may not know how to tell someone his address, but he knows that I see a McDonald's, I know I need to turn here, or I
If
know this school.
are no, what if they
Hmm?
sleep?
I didn't hear you. Say it again.
What if they go to sleep? They're
Now,
gonna miss the
now
landmark.
they are very strong for going. But I'm not necessarily meaning like long trips and things. I will give my son his tablet so he can have his tablet. But then, a lot of times he'll put the tablet down and watch out the window, and that's what happens because he's not used to having the tablet in a car. So, you know, if you like, for us, as we grew up and we would take road trips to Birmingham from Atlanta, we knew landmarks. We knew that we were in Anniston by the way the city looked or how the roads felt at that time, because the roads were pretty rough at the time when we were growing up. We knew that we were close to our grandmother's house when we passed a certain car dealership, Piggly Wiggly's over here, the railroad track, and things of that nature. And I feel that if we have more interaction in a car, that kids will pay more attention to those things. And that's important when they get older. When it's time to go home, they need to know how to get there. Because I know some adults that you have to tell them how to get to your house every time they come over.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So
You
the
know,
reason
so
we
it's
even added
mhm,
this part into the segments because we do see a lot of parents that don't really interact with their children. They ignore their children. Um, Small things like they could be at the park or
mhm.
take a walk and they're on their phone when it could be a
And
great
that's a
time
big one.
to communicate with your child. Like children
Hmm.
verbally learn how to communicate by hearing you talk and you talking.
Right.
And I can tell real quick. Most children who have, again, I don't want to say most, but a lot of children who have speech issues is because nobody really talked to them, or they keep talking to
Hmm.
my baby, so they're learning, from that language of how you talk to them. But
Hmm.
it's important that I love baby talk. Now, don't get me wrong, I love it. I want to talk to that little baby that's in the picture, but kids learn when you
From
get to that,
talking.
you say you're clear on your words, you let them repeat themselves. I remember when my nephew would he was so mad when we were making fun of him because he couldn't say butterfly, but at the same time
It was so cute.
he kept saying it so he could say it correctly. He wanted to have that, that down
Hmm.
and say it in the way that it needed to be said. And so that's
Hmm.
important for them. Like kids will tell you naturally what's important to them, and your attention
Hmm.
to them is so important. Don't miss that as a parent. That's huge.
Hmm.
That's
And
huge.
yes,
Now, do
they're
you
listening to your phone calls as well. They're
do
listening
they?
to the tones, your tones that
Yeah,
you have, So this could, oh, you all in my mouth, because that's how they learn, listening to you. So
exactly.
when you speak, they hone in on it.
Do they need all of your time? No. They
Mhm.
kids. They go off and play somewhere. But do they
I
need a lot of your time when they're in your presence?
Mhm.
Absolutely. They need you to actively
Mhm.
be present with them like they're in the room and they're somebody.
Right. And I think that we have to remember that they are in the room and they are somebody. Because I think that a lot of people, when a lot of adult situations, when I say adult situations, and I don't mean rated R, I'm talking about just I'm on the phone with the light company because something going on with the lights or the bill or something like that, and we just kind of push them out of the room because you don't want to be interrupted. But you know, sometimes they might need to learn what you're doing. How do you handle that on the phone? Like I know all the kids knows the lights are on and that you keep telling them you got bills.
Mhm.
But to
Ex-
actually see you taking care of your bills will encourage them to take care of theirs when they're older, and they'll
Exactly.
know how they're supposed to conduct themselves on the phone with a customer service representative. Because I've seen that too. Some people just go all off on them, like you're
They don't know
supposed
how.
to be helping
Yeah,
me. You're
don't know how
supposed
to
to
handle.
have all the answers.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Even though I don't have children, if I'm with somebody else's child, it's small things that I would do. Like if I knew that they were old enough to swipe a card or give
Mhm.
cash, you go on up there to that register yourself. I'm just gonna be right here watching you while
Mhm.
you do it. You've seen somebody else do it, and they get nervous or
Mhm.
they mess up. But guess what? We're
Yeah.
gonna stand here until you get it right. They love that kind of stuff, and I like to watch them
I'm
do it.
tell
You
you,
know?
I remember when we were kids, our mom taught us how to do chores at very early age. I mean, we was probably 6 and 7 years old. We already knew how to iron our own clothes, separate laundry, make our beds, vacuum floors, and we were already learning how to do dishes and things of that nature. And I remember she would always ask me to vacuum the floor. That's when it becomes a chore when they start asking you to do it. But and I would make all these pretty lines using the vacuum cleaner,
Mhm.
and so I enjoyed doing that, seeing all the pretty lines and looking at how clean the floor was and things but then
Mhm.
eventually, it becomes a chore when mom's saying, Tiffany, it's time to go you gotta go in there and vacuum the floors now. And you're like, I'm playing with
Yep.
my doll.
So yeah, I mean that's part of the learning phase. But I and that's
Mhm.
funny you mentioned that because one year I had I know my um god baby was there, Brooklyn, and then it was somebody else, and they were helping me clean up, and they were fighting over what they was. Okay, now who's gonna wipe the table? All right, who wanna watch? You know, they were fighting over it. And in my back of my head, I was
Mhm.
just like, yes, I can just sit here and
Yeah.
watch them do it. You know, not it's funny, but not to use kids or anything like that, but to have fun while they learn and allow them an opportunity to learn through that until they get tired of it and then become like the
And
rest
they
of
don't mind helping.
them.
They
They
love actually having a part to play.
love helping. They love
Mhm.
it. Man, that's they pride and joy. Like as long as you're being interactive with them, they love it. They love being taught. They love
Yes.
learning.
A real quick tangent. That reminds me of two stories of, when we started doing the outreach out in the streets and right out in the backfield of my apartment that I live in. Um, there's a big green field and we were getting set up, and you remember that one of our colleagues brought our little brothers and sisters over to help put the set up the event, and all of them were fighting over. I was gonna take that. Well, I was gonna
Yep.
say, I was like, I'm fighting over who's gonna take what. There's plenty to take. And
Mm-hmm.
then the last one is I'm reminded of. Remember, we just decided that we was gonna have a little slumber party for all the little toddlers we knew in our life
Yeah.
at the time. And we gave them all their blankets that they were gonna lay on, and the little one, we ran out of blankets, and the little small one, she was at the time only about 2 years old. So we couldn't just not give her a blanket. So we gave her a pillowcase. And just like all the other kids, she went out there and she put her little pillowcase down like it was her blanket, and was so happy just to be a part of what was going on. She didn't know what we was doing all of that for, but she was learning and she was
And just
interacting with us
excited
and she
to
was having
feel
fun.
accepted and feel included. Man, that's amazing. That's good. Now I want to go play with some kids.
Right.
A good way, you know. Um,
Gonna play with them at your house.
I ain't saying my.
Hmm.
All right, so as we get ready to wrap
Okay.
up,
I'm
here are
just
just some
saying it.
resources for your journey. The Ungame is something that is a fun. These are interactive games that you can find on Amazon. Most of them, well, the first two, and talking points cards. These are things to kind of engage and keep conversation going with the family. We realize today that that's so important. You get to know each other and you get to stay those are ways of bonding. And then what we used growing up was We Sing Park videos. That's more so for small children. They're going to be old videos, but they still have its place to some degree in society. That's how we learn how to say our ABCs backwards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we sing.
We learned that, and we learned a song on how to teach kids to learn their address. Because some
Yeah,
kids don't know if they got to get home, and so I've been seeing stories about people, these new bus drivers since the pandemic. They've been letting kids off on the wrong stops and leaving them there, and other strangers have been finding kids wandering neighborhoods. And so, that might be it's tough. It's a tough one because it's a stranger, but if the child knows their address, then, there's always a chance they can make it home safely. Because if the adult was going to take them, they would have just taken them.
hmm
So for them it won't hurt for the child to know their address and where they live.
and a good phone number if they don't have a cell phone. And then
So
also,
that's a good one for that.
those videos were out before Barney and Elmo and all those people.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
then I'm going to suggest too to sign up for your local city emails. That's a good place if you want to find. A lot of families want to find free activities, which I
Mm-hmm.
totally understand. And a lot, like here in Riverdale, they send out emails with a whole bunch of different activities all throughout the year, and the
Mm-hmm.
majority of them are free. And if they're not free, they're low cost to kind of engage. So it
You
doesn't
go out
have.
there and get on the green, pull out the
Yeah.
lawn chairs, and grab you something to drink, or they might have food trucks out there if you can do that.
Yeah, all type of different things that you can find for your family, you and especially if you have children. You don't have to have children, but especially if you have children, that you can engage in and do things outside of the box. It doesn't always have to be in the house, and it also doesn't always have to be on social media, and you don't always have to spend money. Bottom line.
That's right. That's right.
All right, so our virtual prize time. Again, there is a new question in the chat. The first person to respond to the new question is going to be the virtual prize winner, and we'll acknowledge who winner is. So like we'll reply and say you are the winner. Okay.
All right.
All right. So that wraps up Family Renewion.
It's a family reunion.
All right, now,
It's
girl.
a family reunion.
We want you guys to use that term too. Go amongst your family and say, you know what, we're not having a reunion, we having a reunion. Use that theme and just bring
Y'all know y'all like to celebrate stuff
doing
now.
and celebrate.
Okay.
Yeah, and get that old school, have that old school block party. You know what I'm saying? Go out there, kids do relay
pull
race.
out the grill.
Pull out the grill and pull out the music, and let the kids.
Auntie so and so know how to make cakes, and
let them play kickball and stuff like that. Like get them
some little Amazon prizes on, and go on Amazon, some cute little prizes and stuff that where they can actually be rewarded for what they've been doing. Take something home with them.
Speaking of prize, for our virtual prize winners, we will let you know what your prize is, and we will need to get your email address in order to get your prize to you. So we're getting ready to remain in the chat. So if you have any thoughts or questions, place them in the chat. And of course, for more information on future workshops, go to our website, irepresentlife.com. We're also on Instagram, Facebook, and of course, YouTube. But before we officially close out, we wanted to just give you small announcements. No, well, they're not small, they're big to us. Life on Purpose is our sister company to our outreach, Ladies in Full Effect. So we have a couple of things coming up, like a pop-up shop next week, February 11th. And we have blackout.
Pop up, y'all.
We normally wear our Life on Purpose t-shirts, but you probably can't see like
a shirt up. There you go. You got on that. Why you got that blackout shirt on, girl?
We're gonna black out on them.
Blackout.
So
blackout on them.
In a good way.
Yeah.
Good way.
Yep. Check out the website, check out the social media site so you can get more information on that. And here's another huge announcement. Can you see mine, Tangie?
Abundant Life. You have an
Abundant Life. I don't know, not no real one, but no, it's our anniversary. Yeah, anniversary.
18 years. 18
Y'all, Ladies in Full Effect has been around since 2005, February. Today, it makes 18 years that we have been doing outreach in our community. And we just thank God for that. And we thank God for like what Tangie has on the Blackout Church. And Abundant Life is actually the name of a couple of albums that we have, one of the albums that we have, Book of Life, Ladies in Full Effect. Oh my goodness, what else? The Life on Purpose. There's so many different avenues that God has branched us off into from Ladies in Full Effect. And we are so grateful and so humble for the opportunity to serve you all in our community in this capacity. I mean, we have a good time with y'all. We love sharing the information that we have learned along the way. We love sharing ourselves in service out there with you. And so we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for supporting us along the way for all these years, y'all. It's been a wonderful one.
Thank you. And we did not announce what the virtual prize was going to be. In the interest of celebrating and all of this wonderful stuff, one of the things that has recently been released, and we will have our official book signing on February 11th, is my new book, Seasonal Success. So winners of the virtual prize will get a copy of the new book. How about that?
Woohoo! Season for Success.
So it's not going to just be the book. It's going to be some other little goodies to go with it. So let's support Black businesses. Let's support women-owned businesses.
It's
Hey,
Black
we
History
appreciate.
Month, y'all.
Yes, it's Black History Month, and we look forward to at least one workshop a month. We will keep you updated. We will keep you informed, and please share this with somebody. Please let us know what your feedback, and we will continue to do this on our website or our past workshops. We had a whole wellness series that's on there. We also did a grief workshop over the holidays that's on there. So yes, please take a look. We stay tuned. We
You
have
got resources.
so many, so many. And
Mhm.
again, we want to thank you guys. And thank you, Tiffany.
Oh, yeah.
for
Thank
being
you
here. And thank
for
you.
being co-founder of life and being in agreement with what God has called both of us to do. You know, ultimately, this is his thing, that his mission that we are on. And you know, I had a little thought when you said Black history. You know, as we celebrate Black history, let's also make Black history.
There we go. And
Mm.
thank you. We can do that all day. No, thank you.
No,
No,
thank you.
thank you.
Thank
No,
you. And you
thank
know
you.
how when somebody say you welcome, but you want to say thank you again afterwards.
Yep. So it's like the never ending thank yous. But
Yes.
last time we truly, truly thank you for tuning in or watching the recap. Stay tuned for more Life on Purpose, Ladies in Full Effect. I'm Tangela Morris.
And I am Tiffany Dewalt.
See you guys again soon.
And let's get see you again soon. God bless y'all.
Oh, you were gonna say a quote?
Let's get this thing called life together.
Together.
What's your